John, are you ready? Hello, and everybody, welcome to the Borough Council meeting Tuesday, September 17th at 7 p.m. Surprise that we did not have executive session today, so that shouldn't be on the agenda, but we all just showed up just for this meeting. Anybody else have any signatures that they want to sign up for public comment? No? Okay, great. So if everyone would stand and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Virginia, would you do roll call?
Present.
Present. Present. Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Present. Here. Scott Holbert. Here.
Okay, thank you, Virginia. So we have an addition to the presentations. We were going to have it under the action item, but we decided to move it up, which would be John Richardson of Olympus Pine, which will be talking about Tommy's Car Wash. So Mr. Dillon and I sat down and we had a meeting. Actually, Mr. Dillon is the one that, are you going to go first?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, I was going to do Stockham first. So Mr. Dillon actually started conversations with the Stockham building. We know that it's been an eyesore to the community, and we wanted something done, so we contacted the owners, and we had a meeting where there was about 10 of us, right? The RDA was there, the county officials were there, Mr. Dillon, myself, Jim Proprokiak was there, so we started. The senator's office was there, Rosemary was there, our solicitor was there. So it was quite a big meeting and we made a lot of progress. So we went through and we have a timeline, and they have to meet certain criteria in order to make through the timeline. And we're hoping, and we have the architects here, so we're hoping that by March something will happen at the Stockham building. So we're very happy, aren't we? We'll see what happens. So the presentation is from the Stockham building is Rustin Oler, and he has some status comments and timelines, and he's the architect for the owners of the Stockham building.
Hi, everyone. Is this on? All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Rustin Oler.
Just hold it up to you.
Yeah, just pull it out and hold it.
It has to be
Better?
close.
All right. My name is Rustin Oler. I'm a principal of Harmon Deutsch Oler Architecture. We're located in Center City, Philadelphia. My partner, Brett Harmon's with us today. The owner is unfortunately out of the country, wasn't able to be here today. He wanted to, but he didn't want to miss this meeting, so he asked us to come and present to you where we are. So the Stockham building, as you know, has been sitting there vacant for some time. We've gone through the building. Our team and our engineers have been through the building. We've worked with the owner to come up with a plan of how to retrofit the existing building into a mixed-use building. I have some plans I'll present in a minute. So the first floor would maintain a commercial space. It's about just under 4,000 square feet of commercial at the first floor. As you approach the long side of the building to the right, that would be our residential entrance. So we have a residential lobby, mailroom, package room, interior bike storage. We'll be adding an elevator in that corner, and that'll service the upper units. We have 6 units per floor on the upper floor, so it's a total of 18 units in a 4,000 square foot commercial space. And then no additions to the building. We'll be reusing the existing stair towers. The building's in very well, good structural condition other than the hole where the old elevator used to be, which we'll be repairing. And the goal for the outside is essentially just to restore the building, so clean and repoint the brick, replace any damaged missing windows, retrofit the existing storefront, add lighting, cameras, security to the building. So here, you want to just kind of hold, we can show everybody that. So we can show them, turn it around. So this is just the concept floor plan. You can see on the left-hand side, the ground floor. Yeah, well,
You can hold it up.
you can get it on the camera. There you go.
There you go.
All right, so on the left-hand side is the ground floor. So the red space is the commercial space. As I said, it's just under 4,000 square feet. The orangish tan space at the top of the page will be where our residential lobby is. And the right-hand side is the upper floor. So it's a mixture of, there's like a junior one-bedroom, 4 one-bedrooms, and a 2-bedroom per floor. So we have a unit mix. There will be market-rate apartments. I mean that's basically it. So the owners have contracted with us to start proceeding with construction documents. So we have our structural engineers analyzing the building, what we have to do for the stair tower. We started working with our MEP engineers, and we're in the process of laying out the units and finishes so that we can meet the timeline that you had mentioned.
You guys are at the building now, looking at it? And
Yeah, so we've been through the building. We've had the building scanned. We've had it evaluated by our engineers and our office to confirm that everything that we're talking about works and is feasible. So we don't see any issues there.
Excuse me. That's great news. There's a lot of fear that there was a lot of mold and things like that going on.
No, the building's pretty dry.
Oh, good. That's good to hear.
The metal studs from the old layout are inside. All that's going to come out. There's no drywall or finished materials inside. Everything has been removed. So it's basically just down to the concrete floors, the exterior brick walls, and some metal studs from the old layout. The stair towers that are there are solid concrete and in good condition. The railings need to be repaired on them for safety reasons, but the building's in very good condition for how long it's been sitting vacant.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Has the ownership situation been resolved? You used the term owner initially, then you use owners. So how many owners, and are they now talking to each other and friendly? Because that's been an issue in the past.
All right, so my client is Ramnik Chopra, who came and met with you. I do not know the makeup of his ownership structure or if he has partners, but that's who we're contracted with.
he as the architect mentioned, he's out of the country, but he is coming to our October meeting. So he'll be able to answer more questions. Yes, I think there was him and the other fellow was the owners, right? They were two partners?
There was 2 of them.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, and they're partners.
So the problems we've had the last 20 years have been resolved.
He will let us know. That was part of the assignment.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Parking, because the location, on the corner there, it's kind of congested in a way. And did they consider that for the tenants?
Yeah, so the building occupies 100% of the lot, so there's no, what'd you say? Sorry, is that any better?
Was that me you couldn't hear or him?
Okay, so the building currently occupies 100% of the lot, so there's no ability to provide parking on site. So we'd have to make up parking with street parking or in adjacent lots if we can come to those agreements.
Okay. Is what type of basement is there? Or frontage?
The basement's unfinished. It'll remain unfinished. It'll just be used for utilities for the building.
And anything with the roof? I know there was like a satellite dish or something up there.
There's cell towers on the roof currently. Ramnik will have to speak better as to how long those leases are for, or when they expire, and what can be done with them.
Okay.
At the moment, we'll make sure the roof is maintained or replaced, There's no plans for additions or anything to go on the roof. Everything will be contained within the building.
Thank you.
So it's very complicated, as our meeting went. So the roof has cell towers, but the cell towers belong to whoever leased them. So even though Romnick may own the whole building, the cell towers belong to someone else and will for a very long time. So those cell towers will stay there, but Romnick doesn't have anything to do with the cell towers.
Yeah, and until those leases expire, they have to kind of stay. They almost trump ownership in a certain way until the lease expires.
Is that all you had to show us today?
Yeah, I mean, that's all we were.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
Okay.
I have a quick, so the one on the left there with the red, the pinkish red,
correct.
that's the first floor, correct?
Yes.
And on the left-hand side is Bridge Street? Like the long length there, that's Pennsylvania Avenue, correct?
Yeah, this is Pennsylvania.
Okay, so where your finger's right, where your finger just was, right there is where those two little, I guess, that's where there was two businesses that were in there that were separate from the rest of that the whole floor?
Yeah, so we're going to open up the entire first floor and try and seek one tenant that would take the whole space, but we'll plan so that it could be 3 separate tenants if need be, so that it has longevity, so that it doesn't have to sit vacant. And we'll redo the storefront and entrances around so that that's feasible.
And then on that, is that like the second, third, and fourth, no, on the right-hand side?
Yeah, this is the second, third, and fourth floor. They'll be identical floor plates.
Okay. And then what's that yellow thing right there you just pointed at?
So this is, there's a door over here now. This is like a grass area. I can't remember what's to the side of this. But so this, the parking lot. So
Okay.
this will be the residential lobby, interior mail room, package room.
Now, if you put your finger on the chart where that, on the back wall,
Back here?
yep, now go straight down on that back wall, over a little more to your right. Right back, right there, go all the way down to the street. How's that wall?
This wall?
Yeah,
So we have an engineer evaluating the envelope of the building at the moment. So
okay. Now, as Helen mentioned earlier, we're very optimistic that things are going to start. We'll have some stuff getting done by March. Okay. Has the structural engineer done any work in there at all yet or not?
we've had him through the building. We had him evaluate the existing floor loads to make sure that we didn't have any problems, general structural integrity, and to make sure that we could put in the elevator because it's required for ADA from a code
Right.
standpoint if we want to use the first floor for all commercial. So that was an issue. We're waiting on a detailed report of recommended repairs for the rest of the building. So as soon as we have that, we'll make sure Romnick gets that over to you. But
Okay. Because I have to say this, that like I don't want to see the structural engineer go in there and find something bad, and then us having to stare at that building for another 5 years waiting for the structure to be repaired. So we will move on that, right?
yeah.
So one of the county officials are here that was in our meeting, and you should see she was nodding at you. So everyone is very invested in this project, and everyone is going to be watching the timelines, and it will not sit there for 5 years.
Because
she said.
I've lived in this town my whole life, and I'm 55, and I can almost say that half of my life that building's been an eyesore.
So anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I have one more quick one. Part of having commercial and residential tenants is parking. Since you have no parking on site, is Romnick or you making any approaches to the people in the surrounding parking? Or is this going to be a dog's breakfast of parking where you see it?
So I know Romnick has started having those conversations. I'm sure he could answer more of those next month or in between then, but we're not part of those. We're just tasked with the building at the moment.
We had some conversation about parking. We're not overly concerned about parking because there is room in the borough lot behind there. But we did talk about some of the grassy area and maybe reconfiguring the parking lot as time goes on. But that's the least of our problems at this point. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure. You're on Union, right? All right, next is Tommy's Car Wash, which is over there in the Pennsbury Plaza. John Richardson, Olympus Pine, and Tom McGinnis, their attorney. Hi, Tom. I'm sorry, Mike McGinnis. I was confusing you with Tommy's Car Wash.
No problem. Good evening. Mike McGinnis here on behalf of Chesapeake Pines. I have with me Trevor Sperry on behalf of Chesapeake Pines and John Richardson, who is our PE who designed the plan, which is before you for consideration this evening. I will try to be brief, and then we can answer any questions that council may have. We are here requesting preliminary final land development approval to construct a Tommy's Car Wash at the site of the former Plaza Car Wash in the borough. You may remember that Trevor Sperry appeared before council, I think about 7 months ago, and covered a number of the benefits, the financial investment, the environmental benefits, the nature of the jobs that will be created by this development, with employees receiving things like equity ownership stakes and various other amenities that Tommy's would offer here. Subsequent to the sketch plan presentation, we also went to the Planning Commission. We filed a zoning application, and we received zoning variances to facilitate the development. And then we went to the Planning Commission and received recommended approval. On a very high level, not to be repetitive because of the presentation previously, we are essentially halving the building size. So we're reducing it to just over 4,500 square feet. And again, just to be clear, that is not a fit out. We're demolishing the building, but the final building that will be developed is about half the size of what's there presently. We are adding thousands of square feet of green space. We are adding landscape islands and other features. We have worked with Kurt and Jacob's team. We have gone over the review letter issued by Gilmore & Associates dated July 3rd of 2024, as well as the Bucks County Planning Commission letter dated June 28th of 2024, and the resolution that is proposed for council's consideration. I will note that everything contained therein is a will comply with the exception of the waivers that we have identified. We are certainly happy to go through the waiver requests to address any other technical questions that council may have. Mr. Richardson's prepared to go over the plan, and as I stated, Trevor's here if you want any more operational questions about the automated feature, the nature of the jobs that were created, and other facets that differentiate Tommy's from other car washes that you may be familiar with. Other than that, again, we're happy to answer any questions. Just wanted to keep it brief and open the floor up for council comment. Thank you. And I do want to state that we have been very appreciative of the reception, both when we came to council initially. Planning Commission provided very positive feedback. We altered our design a little bit. The Zoning Hearing Board, of course, Kurt's team, as always. So we're excited to become members of the Morrisville Borough community. So thank you.
We're happy to have you. Kurt, do you have any objections with anything on the plan? You're good with it? Okay. Council, you have anything to ask? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Okay, community outreach. The CAC is going to have a meeting at Borough Hall on Wednesday, 9/25 at 7 p.m. This will be our very first meeting, and I hope that members of the public will come out and start working on things. I know Imagine Morrisville has taken over the Winterfest parade, so if there is any way that the CAC can help Winterfest and the Imagine Morrisville, then that would be great. Imagine Morrisville is asking for volunteers to help them with the Winterfest since they have taken it over. Melissa, I don't know if you want to add anything because I know you're part of Imagine Morrisville. I think they want to combine it and make the parade and that little Christmas thing that they used to do at the Morrisville Shopping Center into one event.
So if anyone wants to get in touch with Imagine Morrisville in order to volunteer and help out, whether it's with all the planning or the day of, you can certainly reach out to me. My email address is on the website. We have nicknamed one of our members as the Christmas czar, and she is kind of the go-to person for everything, but I will certainly pass on contact information. I think that might be the easiest and most concise way to do it, since my email address is readily available online. But it's, I don't even know what it is. It's
Your work one?
Yeah, what is it?
It's your first initial, last name, MB at outlook.com.
So it's M Johnson MB. Okay, M Johnson. I just go in there, right? I don't know. I don't email myself, but
MB is for Morrisville Borough.
That much I knew. But feel free to email me or contact me, whichever way is easiest for you. And I will pass on your information to Audrey McNulty, who's been doing a bang up job as always with our Christmas stuff for Imagine Morrisville.
Thank you. And next, I'm sure the mayor will talk about it during his mayor's report, but he's also doing a Halloween costume drive on Saturday on October 19th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at Borough Hall. So you're going to talk about that, right? Okay. So we have a lot of great things happening here in the borough. I'm very excited for everything that's starting to transpire. For instance, we had a meeting arranged by Brian Fitzpatrick with FEMA to talk about the homes on South Delmore Avenue, not the homes that are around the park, but the ones that are further south on South Delmore Avenue and any kind of relief that they might be able to get. And the biggest news, of course, is South Pennsylvania Avenue. I think everyone has heard, which is fantastic, is that we finally have the trucks banned on South Pennsylvania Avenue from Philadelphia all the way to Post Road. Trucks 10 tons, the triaxles will not be allowed on South Pennsylvania Avenue. We are going to have also, they're doing a study for Philadelphia Avenue. I'm not holding my breath for that one, but the speed limit has been reduced from 40 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour on Philadelphia Avenue. So it was a lot of work, many, many years of work, but we're very happy about that. Yeah. The next project that we're working on, everybody I'm sure is aware, is the flooding that's happening at Dacey's right there on Philadelphia Avenue. And Mr. Dillon and I have started conversations with Amtrak to see what can be done there. But that we just started that conversation, so we don't have much to report on that. Mr. Dillon is also working on getting some grants for traffic signals. He would like to replace the traffic signals and make them a little more historic looking. We need them replaced, but in the interim, as we're replacing them, we're going to try and get them a little more historic looking so that they fit in with the history of Morrisville. The Manor Park Playground, everything is set there. We have the grant. We have a donation for the engineer's cost, so that should be done by next spring, Kurt? Yes, so next spring we'll have a brand new playground down at the Manor Park Playground. Next month, the engineer will be talking about the road program, where we'll be repaving every road in Morrisville over the next 2 years, and that should be on everyone on council. That should be in our packets next year. I'm sorry, not next month, next year. Thank you. Next month. The work will start next year. So Mr. Dillon and I also sat down with Kurt to go over a lot of projects that have kind of been stalled in the borough and what we can start doing in order to move things forward. One of them was Patriots Park, that kind of died in 2019 or so. So we sat down with Kurt to see what we needed to do, how we can start that again. So we did contact Brian Fitzpatrick's office, and we're looking to get some grants in order to start finishing Patriots Parks. And I think Kurt might talk about that in a little bit. Some of the other things, there's so many good things happening. So The technology in the borough is in the midst of being updated, all the servers, all the emails, all the computer software, and that should probably be done by October sometime. So that will make the lives easier of both the police department and people in the Borough Hall. The website is also in the process of being updated, and that should be much easier for the residents to go through and find the information they have. Some of the additions we have is how do I and did you know? So those items will be added in, and it'll be a reference section for the residents, and that should be done sometime in October. And I think that's about it for now, but we do have a lot of stuff. The audit was completed, the 2023 audit, so it will be available to the public. Whoever is interested, come to Borough Hall and you'll be able to see it. It was delivered to everyone on council as well. And some of the other things that we've been working on, we've gone through with CBGB Disaster Recovery Fund, $6.5 million in grants that we have applied to. And some of those projects are West Palmer, the drainage improvement for $436,000. The Hillcrest Avenue over there by the towers for $258,000. Melvin Court, the drainage problems that are occurring there for $275,000. The Delaware Canal Wastewater Relocation Project for $830,000, and the South Delmore Avenue elevations for $4.7 million. And that's in conjunction with the meeting that we also had with FEMA arranged through Fitzpatrick's office. So that's $6.5 million, which is, you know, a lot of money for this small borough. So we're very happy and pleased about that. Okay, so go ahead, Kurt, you're up next. This is Kurt Schroeder, our Gilmore Engineers.
Hi, good evening. It looks like you covered, it's working. You covered most of the topics, but I'll just go through what is on the agenda for consideration this evening. There is a grant program. Do you want me to just talk about the grants that are being requested to be applied for?
Yeah, so we did the $6.5 million, which was CBGB, and now Kurt is applying for additional grants. So you can go ahead and talk about those.
Sure. The local cost share program is open now, and we'll have resolutions if it's approved this evening to apply. But the recommended applications for this round of funding include traffic signal upgrades at Trenton Avenue and Plaza Boulevard to fully replace that traffic signal. That the construction costs to apply for are anticipated to be between $500,000 and $600,000. The Patriots Park improvement, you'd mentioned that as continuing that effort to construct that park. Just as a reminder, that project is pretty well fully engineered. We do still have some permitting to apply for before it could go to construction, but most significantly, there's still a gap in construction funding. We were able to secure $500,000 through an RACP grant a number of years ago, and we would be applying for approximately $1 million with this grant program. So that would be the second application. Third application is to apply for this grant program for the Hillcrest Avenue stormwater improvements. We did apply under that CDBG disaster program, but you know, there's no guarantee that that funding will come through under that program. So in order to try to get this effort funded, we're recommending applying for between $170,000 and $190,000 toward that. And the fourth application would be the West Palmer Avenue stormwater management improvements that you spoke about. And finally, an application in support of the emergency services for a fire truck that has an estimated cost of $450,000. So we'll be able to assist with that grant application any way that's needed so that it gets applied for in time.
And just for the public, the fire department came to us and asked if we would help them because they couldn't apply. It had to be applied through the borough. So the borough was going to help the fire department get that fire truck grant. Questions?
Yes, Kurt. On the Patriots Park, is there a plan? I know that there was a plan kind of halfway submitted in 2019. Is that the same plan, or are you going to do a different plan that we haven't seen?
No, the plan has not changed
Okay.
since, I don't recall exactly when it sort of stalled, but the plan that you've seen before, that we've had in front of council before, it's the same plan.
So it's the one with the amphitheater and the statues and,
Yeah, it has the tiered, walkways through the middle that serves as, it would function as an amphitheater. It's not explicitly an amphitheater,
Okay.
but it would provide and accommodate that type of event and statues, and has a parking area designated for the summer seat building, and then other typical public park amenities, more of a passive park component. There's not playgrounds or sport fields or things like that. It's considered a passive park.
so that amphitheater, though, to have concerts and stuff.
It could serve to have concerts,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
And just so you know, Kurt, Mr. Dillon and I spoke. I know that the original plan called for statues, but we didn't think that if we could just get the park done and hold off on the statues for later. Our goal is to finish the park and not worry about statues.
And things like that could be added later.
Right.
Like the park, it has a multi-million-dollar construction budget to construct the entire park. We had gotten that $500,000 RCP grant, and at the time we were asked if there was a phased approach where we could build some of the park, and that proved to not be feasible. There's a lot of infrastructure that goes in first. So once we get all the grading done and the infrastructure installed and some of the other amenities, things like statues, if things are in the budget and they can be installed, and that's what the desires are for the borough, we can pursue them. But if we get grants, or we get a portion of the grant that we're requesting, then we may have to, value engineer just to get as much constructed as we can.
It's been several years, and I'm foggy on all the intricate details and whatnot. But as far as that amphitheater goes, that's not like going to be like a full-scale concert venue, is it?
Yeah, so, you think of amphitheater, you think of the one that was recently built in Bristol Township, maybe the one that was that's down in Ben Salem Township. This is not, it's not a grand stage. There's no shell to it. This is just quite literally like the ground slopes.
It's not like we're going to be moving like concerts and loud events from the island up to there, because there's no every which way you fire the sound from that stage is going to be reflecting off of somebody's house, because it's kind of
so the intent was not to create an amphitheater. There is an opportunity, though, with just how the design came and the slope, it would be conducive for small events. You wouldn't have a large concert.
Like an Actors Net outdoor play or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Council President Halal, is there access so that we could see that plan? I know I've seen it.
It's in the delivery. It's in the Dropbox.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see it. Thank you so much.
If you're on the top, it'll say plans or Morrisville development plans.
Okay, is that where it's located?
Yeah. So
Okay, thank you. I'll look at that.
Any kind of plans that have been developed are sitting in there.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Dillon has asked that we print out a large color rendering of that park. So we'll have that. We just haven't been able to get that done yet, but we'll have that on display for people to view.
And if anybody wants to change anything, we have that opportunity, right?
Now would be the time.
Now
like
is
I
the
said,
time.
we are 90%, 95%
Right.
through the engineering, so we don't want to make major changes.
No.
That would cost a lot of, engineering dollars to do that and time. So the focus now is to try to secure the grant funding and try to see if we can get the project constructed.
Perfect. Nothing else? Oh,
Thanks, Kurt. I truly think this would be a great thing for the borough, also for historic summer seat as well, to be able to have this finished. And, let's say they have an event there, people can use that for photos or whatever it may be, but just, cleaning up that area over there and really showcasing what Morrisville's about, especially with summer seats sitting behind it. So thank you.
Thank you, Kurt, for being so easy to work with.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks.
Mr. Dillon doesn't have anything for the borough manager report, but let me tell you, he's working on a lot of things. As you can see, just from my list, he's been the key player in moving a lot of these things forward and organizing people. Solicitor report, anything, Scott?
Yes, I just want to go over one item because it's something new for your agenda. It's item 12D. It talks about a professional services agreement with Amtrak. Amtrak obviously has their bridge over. Excuse me a second. Some water.
You need water?
I should be okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm good now. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Amtrak has their bridge over their lines over Washington Street. That bridge needs to be replaced. Some of the work is going to be conducted to lower the bridge, which will require some lowering of Washington Street, which will need help from review from our engineer, our code officers. There's going to be a heavy staff involvement and potentially my office as well as the MMA, as there are water lines under Washington Street, so they'll have to be involved. So Amtrak has come to us. They're working through the project. They know it's going to be labor intensive on our side, so they actually proposed, and we asked, they proposed a professional services agreement similar to what you've seen with land development agreements, but this one's a little bit more intensive and not in the land development process. So that's why it's on your agenda here. So, Kurt's work, any work I do, staff work spent on the Amtrak project won't be spent with borough funds, but from Amtrak's funds. And I believe the initial amount is going to be $50,000 that they'll put into escrow for us. So we'll have that on your agenda here in a few minutes.
Thank you, Scott. Mm-hmm. Okay. Police chief report. Chief Ciampa, how are you today? Great. Great. I hear nice things about you all the time. Chief Ciampa, all day, every day.
Nice to meet you. Can everyone hear me okay?
A little closer.
A little closer?
Take it out of the...
No, I can't see. Okay. So good evening, everyone. So I'll be brief. And if you remember last month, I talked about my crime stats, my weekly crime stats, how I was color coding them. And you could see that they're rather bland this last week, which is good. We're moving in the right direction. So just to summarize a little bit, we had a pretty good reduction in our Part 1 offenses, which are your more serious crimes. And in particular, our thefts went from 42 to 15, and our motor vehicle thefts went from 12 to 4, which is moving in the right direction. It's not perfect, it's not great, but we're moving there. But what is notable is that our officers made more arrests this month than last month. So what does that mean? It means they're out there in the public, they're working, and they're doing their jobs, which is fantastic.
Chief, if I can interrupt you.
Yes.
The folks that are watching online won't be able to hear you if you're not in that mic.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to add to that, in addition to the crime stats, I think you'd be happy to know that since we spoke last, Corporal Hallis has conducted 14 commercial motor vehicle inspections in a little over 2 weeks. On top of that, there's probably been 2 to 3 dozen other motor vehicle stops with our trucks. So we're out there, we're sending the message, and we're educating the upcoming changes, and we're enforcing. So that's a good thing. I would like to just add a couple notable mentions that even though our thefts and especially our motor vehicle thefts have declined, it's still important for people to understand and know to lock your doors. And for those who have Ring cameras in the community, we appreciate everyone who's willing to cooperate and share their Ring camera footage with us. But a lot of times we get to houses and those batteries are dead. So charge those Ring cameras. We appreciate the footage. It's really helping us solve some of these issues and identify our violators. I would also like to mention, with our schools back in session, to please be mindful of the children walking. Our officers are out in the area of the schools, Grandview and on Palmer Avenue, every morning and afternoon. And motor vehicle enforcement has been pretty heavy on West Bridge Street in the last couple of days because we've had a couple of concerns and we've identified issues and we're addressing them. So please be mindful of the children, be mindful of the speed, and also the buses. Our buses make, we don't have busing, but there are buses that come through town and they make stops, and it's a little frustrating, but we can't be going around them. I witnessed that personally. I don't know what district the bus is from, but somebody went around a bus on Bridge Street because it was stopped too long, and we just can't have that. So with that being said, I would also like to let everyone know that on tentatively October 2nd, we will be doing our first Coffee with a Cop. We're first in a long time. And I'll have more information disseminated when I get the exact particulars, but this is going to be over, I believe, at Giant. And we are planning a trunk or treat to happen right here outside on the 29th, Mayor? Yes. Okay, so bring all the kids. We're going to have candy and hopefully some spooky times. And that's all I have.
That's a lot.
Too much, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. It's all positive news.
Okay, great.
Council, any questions for the police chief?
You failed to mention your little show tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow, you mean today?
Oh, is that today? I thought that's
it?
tomorrow.
I had my radio debut today with Chief Kelly.
I forgot about that.
Did you get a copy of it?
I did not, but he said within several days it'll be posted to whatever the website is.
So they'll save it. There's a little basket there. You can go in and get all the old shows right inside the front door.
Yeah, it was interesting.
You did very well. You did very well.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a first.
And don't forget that you're going to be at the senior center. What day?
I have to look at my calendar, but
The 27th at 11:30 a.m.
yes. Every day is something, so I'm not sure unless I'm looking at it. But yes, the 27th is at 11:30 a.m.
That's September?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Nothing else for the chief?
Well, I just want to thank Chief. It's been a pleasure having you on leading the force here. And I just want to reiterate the locking of the doors and making sure that your cameras are charged and everything. We're all subject to it. You know, it's not a targeting. It's really they're just going around trying to lift handles and seeing what they can get. I was actually a victim of that the other evening. Thankfully, all my doors and shed were locked, so they were not able to get anything, but I was able to provide the necessary video to Chief and the team down there. So again, just please make sure we lock our car doors, make it a little routine, set your little reminders, but please make sure doors are locked. That will help prevent a lot.
Well, I'd like to say thank you for those words. And also, we were able to make a positive identification from that video. So once again, that Ring camera footage is so important and so valuable with the resources that we have with facial recognition. So we have been very successful in making IDs just from that same type of footage. And it's great when we have it because it helps tremendously.
Chief, when you come to the senior center, please, please just reiterate that. We have a lot of people that leave their stuff in their car and even with their keys in the car and everything. So they need an extra reminder.
I sure will.
Thank you so much for being there.
Thank you.
All right, one last thing too. So it is National Co-Responder and Crisis Responder Week, so we just want to extend our heartfelt thanks to Taylor and what she does for this community. It's been a true pleasure. We talk about her often, having her here to be able to assist in calls. She steps right up and does what she needs to do, and she's helping a lot of residents. So thank you to her.
Absolutely. She's an asset to the organization.
Most certainly.
Yes. That's all.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Okay, on to the consent agenda. I will read the items. Council will discuss, and then if anyone has any public comment, you can come up to the mic and make your comments. So for the consent agenda, we are going to approve the minutes from the 8/20/24 council meeting, approval of the bill list from 8/1 to 8/31 in the amount of $338,298.98, approval of awarding the annual 2024-2025 consortium salt bid as bid through the Bucks County Consortium to Morton Salts Inc., $60.95 price per price per ton delivered and $60 price per ton undelivered. Contract to run to September 30th, 2025. Motion to approve an ordinance adopting the International Fire Code 2018 edition as published by the International Code Council. Motion to approve an ordinance adopting the International Property Maintenance Code 2018 edition as published by the International Code Council. Motion to approve a millage payment in the amount of $75,000 to the Morrisville Fire Company as per the 2024 fire budget, contingent upon receipt of payment in full for gas and diesel invoices. Call for motion to approve a millage payment in the amount of $35,000 to Capital Health as per the 2024 EMS fund budget, contingent upon receipt of payment in full for gas and diesel invoices. Scott Robinson, would you make the motion?
So moved.
Catherine, would you second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anybody from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Action items. Call for a motion to approve and authorize execution of 5-year 2025 to 2029 collective bargaining agreement with ASKS-Me. Luke, would you make a motion?
So moved.
Melissa, would you second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anything from the public? Nothing? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Call for motion to approve the preliminary final land development application of Olympus Pines LLC for car wash at 2025 Plaza Boulevard. Marie, would you make the motion?
So moved.
Andrew, would you second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Anything from the public? Nothing? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Call for motion to acknowledge receipt of the annual minimum municipal obligation forms MMO for both the police uniformed and non-uniformed pension plans to be submitted to the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System by October 7th, 2024, and authorizing the borough manager to execute the necessary documents. Luke, would you make the motion?
So moved.
Scott, would you second?
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion? Anything from the public? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Call for motion to approve Borough Council President to execute all documents associated with PennDOT Multimodal Transportation Fund MTF agreement.
Did you skip one? Sure.
Amtrak? Oh, the Amtrak. I'm sorry. Call for motion to authorize execution of the Amtrak Bridge Replacement Agreement at Washington Street and South Pennsylvania Avenue Professional Services Agreement. Melissa, would you make the motion?
So moved.
Catherine, would you second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I think when this came up before, might have been in 2023, there was a discussion as to whether or not Amtrak would also take care of Pennsylvania Avenue since that is similar concern. Do you know offhand if that had been discussed regarding this particular?
This isn't really regarding their plans. This is just to set up the escrow account so that they could start making the plans and utilizing our borough engineer and setting it up so that they are paying our borough engineers, not the borough paying the engineers. So no plans have really been provided to us.
Okay.
And there is, I can add, there is some discussion in there about anything they would have to do on Pennsylvania Avenue as well. The extent of that, yeah, as
So it'll be looked
it's not
at.
quite known yet. Yeah, it's being looked at, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the consultant for Amtrak was here, and he's been here quite a while. I think he was talking with John, and he was talking to Kurt and a couple of other people. But Yeah, we would do with, Mr. Dillon said that we don't want to hold Amtrak up. We want to get this moving.
Right.
So that's why this agreement is on
No, I
here.
definitely don't want to hold them back. I was just curious if they were looking at that too, because I knew that was a concern.
Yes, they're both going to do, they're not going to be done simultaneously,
Right.
but the
It
Pro-Ams
couldn't
will
possibly
provide.
be.
No,
Didn't we-
no. No.
So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, anything from the public? No, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Call for motion, now we're finally getting this one. Call for motion to approve the Borough Council President to execute all documents associated with PennDOT Multimodal Transportation Fund, MTF agreement. Marie, would you make the motion? Luke, would you second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion?
I have discussion. I understand the importance of having somebody in the office to be able to sign these documents. Can I ask that before they're signed or something that we have a chance to look at them so we know what's going on?
I believe everything will be voted on. This is
Okay.
just to sign after the vote.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Right. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's the resolutions that will be signed. Normally, the borough manager signs them, and once we have a full-time borough manager,
I
it'll go
understand.
back to that borough manager.
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
Okay. Anything from the public? Anything else from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Call for motion to authorize Gilmore and Associates to file DCED grant applications for the following projects. Traffic signal upgrades at Trenton Avenue and Plaza Boulevard, estimated cost $500,000 to $600,000. Patriot Park improvements, estimated cost $1 million. Hillcrest Avenue stormwater management improvements, estimated cost $170,000 to $190,000. West Palmer Avenue stormwater management improvement, estimated cost $280,000 to $300,000. Fire truck, estimated cost $450,000. I just want to add, there's no match required for this, so there shouldn't be any out-of-pocket expenses to the borough. So, Andrew, would you make the motion?
Wait, you want to talk?
I'm sorry, we haven't even made the motion yet.
Every single one of these, every single action item, we ask for the public, and it will happen with this one as well.
Thank you, Melissa. Andrew, would you make the motion?
Yes, so moved.
Scott, would you second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Council discussion. Anything from the public?
Again, I'm just going to reiterate, this is the borough going for infrastructure to improve our town here. So this is extremely important for us to be able to do. And again, with no match, it's free money to the borough. So thank you.
I have, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just, before, I have concerns of how the residents will feel about this. And I think that there needs to be some kind of a public meeting inviting the residents because it'll impact them the most. And that's what I would like to see. I'm not going to vote against it, but I do want to see public input. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? No? Anything from the public? Nancy? Yes.
Regarding the traffic signal at, on Plaza Boulevard, I asked that when they engineer it, if they would please make sure that the northbound lane is back at least another car's length. There are trucks that come to deliver in that shopping center, and what happens is the car's all too close to the light, and then 6 cars have to back up and it doesn't work. So if they could do that. Regarding Patriots Park, he talked a little bit. Do they need
No, that's.
Yeah.
Plaza Boulevard and Trenton Road?
No, my question is like, that's a, that's like completely understand what you're saying to trucks because of the tightness, but these are electricians that are doing this. I don't know if it's more than it's that the work. I don't know if that'll be part of the job.
Okay. Point taken. Thank you. Regarding the Patriots Park, I was just trying to figure out what was going to, what that $1 million would entail. I don't have time to talk about some of the past grants that were applied for and approved and so forth. I know that Kurt has them, but so I guess that'll happen when we find and get closer to a plan. The Hillcrest Avenue, I'm so happy because that's something that really needs to be done. I only ask, and I know John's very good at coordinating this, but I'm asking that they make sure that it's not anywhere near the time that they're going to be doing the bridge over the canal, because this will be the designated route once they close Pennsylvania Avenue. And then West Palmer Avenue, the only question I have regarding that is, my understanding is that that area, that block, that 600 block, there's a spring underneath, and that's why we have these issues that we've had for years. So I don't know how you contain a spring. So, but I guess we'll find out. And then I guess I'll have to wait for the next ones. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Mary?
Action item 12F states that the council will be voting on whether to authorize Gilmore and Associates, our borough engineers, to apply for a Department of Community and Economic Development grant for $1 million for Patriots Park improvements. Why are you doing this now? What are the planned improvements? We have had no public meetings or any effort to gather residents' input on what improvements we'd like to see in Patriots Park. There was a plan that we saw a long time ago, and I do know from talking to people that a lot of people really did not like that plan. So I think it would be a really good idea to get public input. Better question is, what happened to the effort that was started more than a year ago to plan an improvement and implement improvements to Williamson Park? More than a year ago, a public community meeting was held, facilitated by Gilmore and Associates and well attended with 30 or 40 or more residents participating. In order for Gilmore and borough government to gather input from the borough residents about what they liked and disliked about Williamson Park, and what improvements they would like to have made. A lot of good ideas were presented by residents. In the meeting, we were told that Gilmore would produce a report on the meeting and that all participants would receive a copy. We were also told that the ideas contributed by meeting participants would be used by Gilmore in planning for Williamson Park improvements. We're still waiting for the Gilmore report and for a plan for improvements for Williamson Park after more than a year. So now council's switching up on us. Can you feel the whiplash? Instead of Williamson Park, they want a grant of $1 million for Patriots Park improvements. Patriots Park is much smaller than Williamson Park. It really doesn't have the space or the off-street parking for large events. It's completely surrounded by residents, as Scott already pointed out. And besides the sound that would come from any big events that would be held at Patriots Park, many of the residents probably need that on-street parking that would be taken up by any parking for an event. Williamson Park is 40 acres. It's big enough and has enough off-street parking for big events. It's located on the river. It's well-used and well-loved. I don't begrudge Patriots Park. But, Williamson Park, we started in on the planning of the actual improvements. A year ago, we have heard nothing. And now, I don't hear anything about Williamson Park in this list of grants that we're getting. So it's kind of, you're just leaving us hanging here, and I think we need to get something done. As far as Patriots Park, Mr. Dillon, I understand you want to get things moving here, but I think you're going a little too fast on those Patriots Park improvements because there's been no public input. And I think that really needs to be done. And we need to take the public input on Williamson Park into account and make improvements there as well. We know there are many improvements that need to be done because of years of neglect. And so, yeah, I would like to see that. And I'm sure a lot of our neighbors and other residents would like to see it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Don?
Don Rice, Crown Street. My comment is also in regard to item 12F. Because Patriots Park improvement is so general, it does not meet the requirements of Pennsylvania's Sunshine Act. The Office of Open Records guidance on their frequently asked questions page answers the question, how specific should agenda items be to conform with new Sunshine Act requirements? Using the reason given for entering into executive session as an example, they state, quote, the reason given must be sufficient specificity to specific discrete matter or area which the board had determined should be discussed in executive session. To permit generalized fluff would frustrate the very purpose of the act. It is advisable to use the same standard for agendas whereby the description of the agenda item must be of sufficient specificity to inform that there is, in reality, a specific discrete matter or area which the board has determined should be discussed, deliberated, and or decided by official action. In sum, avoid general cryptic terms and provide as many specific concrete details as possible. We were given an item that said $1 million to the engineer for Patriots Park. That does not inform us as to the nature of what's going on. We don't know. $1 million for the park. That's a good idea, but it lacks specificity. I can't write an informed comment if I don't know what's going on. Therefore, the discussion of the Patriots Park grant needs to be removed from the agenda since only fluff is provided to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Anyone else? Just to clarify, the reason that we're going for a grant for Patriots Park is because of the, what is it called, the dollars, Kurt, that are available next year? The America 250. So they have dollars available, and because of the America 250, we are going to do it because we couldn't use it in Williamson Park. We can only probably use it in Williamson Park. So, so there we go. So, what's that? Didn't I say that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being told that I said Williamson. It can only be used in Patriots Park, not Williamson Park. Okay, so we have a motion second. We have discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Catherine opposes. Abstentions? Motion passes 7-1.
I have one real quick question for Scott. Are we violating like the sunshine law or anything?
No, I mean, the action here is you're authorizing your engineer to apply for a grant in relation to a subject park that potentially could be improved. There's no money being allocated specifically to the park. It's just the application for the grant was the action item, not the actual improvements to the park.
And I do believe that a resolution will be in front of council next month that will be used to submit the grant for each of these.
Okay, thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Scott. Call for a motion to advertise a repeal of the alcohol ordinance, ordinance number 1045. Luke, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Scott, can I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Any comment by the public? Don? Don?
Don Rice, Crown Street. I'm here to address action item 12G, motion to advertise the repeal of the alcohol ordinance. The discussion in council last month was full of false, untrue, wrong, and vague information. I cannot cover all the misinformation in 3 minutes, but I can cover some of it. First, the solicitor said, quote, Morrisville is one of the few, if only places in the area that allows alcohol in a borough park. Most municipalities do not allow it in their parks, counties, states. So this would be bringing Morrisville back in line with other communities. End of quote. Next, the acting borough manager said, I don't think you should have alcohol on public property. I don't think you should permit it. I don't think any county or any municipality I'm aware of allows it to be on public property. Both statements are false. Examples, and remember, I only have 3 minutes. In Bucks County of why this is a false statement. Yardley Beer Fest held, I believe it's Buttonwood Park. Scott even mentioned it at the meeting last month. The Yardley Beer Fest is going to be on October 19th this year, if you want to go. The Upper Bucks Brew Fest in Quakertown was held on August 14th. The Brewfest 2024 on May 4th was held in Washington Crossing State Park. I also know from experience they have wine tastings there as well that are well attended. And again, that's a state park, not a municipal park. And finally, the 8th annual Fall Harvest Sampler is at Peace Valley Park, and it is sponsored by the Bucks County Department of Parks and Recreation. Clearly, beer and alcohol is being served at public parks in Bucks County and elsewhere too. Next, it is disgraceful to use false information to support the repeal of beer in the park. Use truth to inform the public, not falsehoods. Item 8G should be removed from the agenda until an honest discussion of factual reasons with specifics of the legal issues, and I would say the solicitor gave vague, rambling reasons why it might be of liability, possibly, could be, maybe, with specifics of the legal issues not covered by the existing ordinance. Then an informed decision can be made. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nancy?
I really don't have to elaborate more than what Don has just said, but when this, the year and a half, almost 2 years that we worked on finding a way to do this responsibly, we did come up with Ordinance 1045. And the solicitor at the time told us and approved the ordinance. So I'm not looking to put any blame anywhere, but the fact that we have to go back on what we approved on June 20th last year with the expectation that we thought we were going to have events this year with alcohol, it was somewhat disappointing. And the narrative that went around about us actually even having the alcohol was even more disturbing because that was misinformation. But I agree with Don. I think that if you want to revise it somehow, because I think the issue had something to do with fees, then maybe you need to think about the fee schedule. But you don't have to throw away the whole ordinance. My opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion, a second, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. Catherine opposes. Abstentions? Motion passes 7-1. Call for a motion to name the parcel of land located at the northwest corner of South Delmore Avenue and East Philadelphia Avenue, parcel ID 24-012-088-022 as Colvin Ferries Park. Scott, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Melissa, can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just that there were other I posted it to see if there's any other suggestions, and there were like Riverview, and there was a couple other ones too.
I did not get anything in the email.
Okay.
Send me an email?
No, I didn't know when you were going to need them, but Scott, you were there when we were discussing it, so.
What was that?
At the Parks and Recreation meeting you came to.
Oh, yeah, that was just, people were just, there was nothing,
Okay.
I mean,
Nobody provided anything other than the Colvins Ferry Park, so that's what I put down.
Okay.
Is there other viable opinions?
Would you like it tabled?
I liked Constitution Park.
I think that it would be nice to have, like you just mentioned, Constitution Park, Riverside Park. There might be some other ones that I think if we make it to get it in by a certain date would be good. And if we could table that. Not that I don't think Colvin's Ferry is bad. I just think that it'd be kind of fun to have more than just one suggestion.
Well, I'll tell you why Riverside Park wouldn't use is because we have Riverside Avenue, which is right near the Staley's property. And if we ever got that land and made that into a park, it would kind of be confusing to call that Riverside versus the one. But just so everyone is aware, the reason the borough employees actually like Colvin's Ferry Park because some of the history is that when Washington was running across, he jumped on the ferry which was Colvin's Ferry. Mr. Colvin ran a ferry service from Trenton to Morrisville, and it was just at Green Street, which is where this piece of land is. So the Colvin's Ferry kind of fits with the history, it fits with the area, and it fits with, you know, the whole summer seat in Washington being here. So I don't know.
Madam President, should we maybe just like table it? Sounds like maybe folks were confused about how they could let us know what names they were interested in. Because I thought you had asked for this last month, but
I did.
like
I asked
people
all
didn't
council
know.
to respond to me, and no one responded to me.
Yeah.
And Morrisville used to be called Colvin's Ferry before it was Morrisville.
Yeah, for 20 years it was called Colvin's Ferry. Okay, nothing?
I don't.
Okay, I got nothing from anybody. Is everybody okay with Colvin's Ferries Park? I'm sorry, I'm talking to council. No, I'm asking council.
I'm good with it.
I was just suggesting the table if there was confusion, but I mean, I don't have an issue if you want to press forward.
Okay, nothing else from council? Anything from the public? Don? Go ahead. Sure.
Going to be an official borough park?
Well, right now it is an open space. People are utilizing it when the hummingbird dancers are there. So this will just make an easy way to identify the area, the piece of land. Going forward, we'll see what we're going to do. I don't know. We're just naming the piece of land.
We're trying to avoid confusion now. Okay, we're trying to make things simpler around here. When there's something going on that piece of land, instead of saying, oh, that area down there by the dog park or that area down there by the street, we can say it's at Colvin's Ferry Park. If we don't name it a park, we'll refer to it as Colvin's Ferry until we make it a park. How's that? Is that good? Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
So that parcel that you mentioned, that's the whole parcel, including the dog park, isn't it? So this doesn't change the dog park name, right?
Because the dog park is the dog park.
Okay, but I'm saying it's still that same parcel, right?
I know, but I can't change that.
No, I'm not asking you to.
Yeah.
I'm saying, so you'll have one parcel, but I'll have two different names.
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, nothing else from the public? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Call for a motion to define Morrisville Borough co-sponsorship events. By co-sponsoring an event, Morrisville Borough is supporting the event by assuming the cost of insurance and portable bathroom facilities at Williamson Park only. The borough will also agree to waive any facility use application and/or rental fees. An applicant seeking the waiver of any other costs or fees shall specifically list those costs and fees in any application with cost estimates that must be separately approved by the Morrisville Borough Council. Luke, would you make the motion?
So moved.
Marie, would you second?
Second.
Okay, so the reason this was done was because there was confusion as to what Morrisville Borough co-sponsorship meant. So this defines what it means, and anything else will have to be asked as a waiver. So, Council, any discussion?
Council President Halal, sorry, my mouth is really dry.
That's okay. So is mine.
I actually really enjoyed reading this and really appreciated that it was more defined. And so I really support this.
Oh,
and thank you.
Nice to hear. Anything from the public?
I have a comment on this one here. So I appreciate the definition, but what's the definition of us sponsoring events? If me and Mr. TK decide to have a picnic down at the park, can I get the borough to sponsor it? Like, what defines our sponsorship of something?
Isn't that part of the discussion of that?
You have to go down to the borough, you have to fill out the application, you have to fill out all the information, and if you want it to be borough sponsored, then it will become an agenda item and council will vote on it.
I know that's how it works now. That's how it's always worked. I mean, I know we're getting a definition here, but.
Yes, and I think that's helpful is that the budget is required and submitted and approved separately and stuff. So I think that's a really good move.
I've had residents come up to me, and again, I mean, there's, several sides to every story and whatnot. I actually had a couple residents tell me that they should change the title of Morrisville Borough sponsorship to insert whatever the event is, and then after it saying, I'm either unable, too lazy, or allergic to fundraising. Why are my taxes paying for all this? Where are the sponsors? I've had people say it should just be called, we didn't fundraise, let the taxpayers pay for it. I've had residents come up to me and say that. I'm just speaking for the residents.
Noted. However, if an event comes before council and somebody is asking us to co-sponsor, council has the opportunity to say, no, they're not going to sponsor. This is a definition to explain what it is that the borough is going to pay for should they decide to sponsor an event. Because there were a lot of no, but you're co-sponsoring, so this should be waived and that should be waived. So this is it. You're only getting porta potties, the insurance, and the facility rental fee will be waived. And that is what a borough-sponsored event. Everything else, you have the opportunity to vote, and you could say, no, the borough should not sponsor any events.
Also, I'd like to remind that any of the borough-sponsored events, all the vendor and food truck fees go directly to the borough. So they don't go to the co-sponsor.
Anything else from council? Anything from the public? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 8-0. Okay, public comment on anything that was not on this agenda. I have Nancy Sherlock. Who?
Thank you. Couple things. One, I would like to say thank you to the county administration for the grant that we received last year regarding the Stockton building. It was $1 million, and it's a good start, although it's probably a third of what we need. And I do have a question. Will they be putting well, I didn't ask the gentleman when he was here, it didn't come up, but I'm curious about any windows. Like the white windows really destroy the look of that building. I'm hoping maybe to change them. On 300 block of Clymer Avenue, there's a bit of it's a sinkhole. It's right in the middle. It's not a pothole. It's a sinkhole. So I don't know if it has something to do with water or not. So many things were mentioned tonight that are all really very good. I appreciate the temporary sidewalk on Pennsylvania Avenue. I know many people do. But I am bringing up what Mary brought it up, why we are not moving on Williamson Park. We had that meeting last year with Gilmore and the public, and we have the money in there. We have a match as well, and we should be starting a plan at Williamson Park to have that trail and move forward. Let's see what else. Is there a plan to hire a borough manager? And what else? One last thing. I'm curious as to why are you assigning the firsts and seconds when you have agenda? Why are you assigning them? I don't understand that. And one last thing. There's been no problem. I mean, I'm grateful that we're moving forward, and part of the reason council and this borough and administration is able to move forward is because of the EIT, which was enacted. There's no way we would do almost any of this without that. So I'm just pointing out those that voted no should think twice about it, but they're very happy to spend the money, and that's very upsetting. But I'm glad it's 8-0, so you're all spending it, you're all getting jobs done, which is great. But I think all of us know that that would not happen without the earned income tax. So I have to say appreciation to the public because of the ones who are paying it. And one last thing is I'd like to thank everybody that came to the Irish Fest on Sunday. I would say 50% of the people there were families. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Don Rice? No? Okay. Mary Herenda?
We only had to sign up for the after agenda comments. Okay.
Your name and the street?
Yeah, my name is Mary Herenda, and I live on Crown Street. I still do, even after the last comment. But anyway, how's the search going for a full-time borough manager? Do you have a search committee? Do you have any applicants? Do you have a timeline for hiring a new borough manager? Morrisville's interim borough manager is also the full-time borough manager of Bristol. And so Morrisville is a side gig. I see he's done a lot of things, and I'm sure he's a good borough manager because he's been in Borough Bristol for such a long time, but he's not Superman. The duties of the borough manager are set out in the borough code, available on the borough website. It's a very demanding job, so since our interim borough manager reportedly spends just a little time in Morrisville, presumably there's a greater burden of work on the borough staff to pick up day to day. They have their own duties, so either they're being forced to work overtime to get the work done, or it isn't getting all done. Furthermore, I've read that Mr. Dillon's contract is a bit strange. So we'd sort of like to have a little explanation of how this works and how it's legal and all that kind of stuff. He's paid $1 a year, and how much he will be paid will be decided when he leaves. So yeah, we would love to hear the explanation for that arrangement. We need a full-time borough manager sooner, not later. Council needs to get this done ASAP. It would be great if we had a borough manager that could be here and who knows the borough. I understand how Mr. Dillon's trying to get stuff done, but he doesn't know the borough, he doesn't know the people here, and I think we need our own. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Karen Kane?
I'll share.
You'll share? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a long time coming. I'm meant to come over and speak to everybody. I am representing the Morrisville Historical Society. As a recently elected president of the society, I would like to give you a little bit of the history and what our objectives are. We are the keepers of the past, nationally and locally. We are forging ahead with many new, exciting projects and looking forward to the future. Moving Morrisville forward. Some changes take time as the house is 259 years old. It is in need of constant care. Our current board of 10 directors, all volunteers, we are a 501c3, are working to achieve that. Let us not forget our past president, Sam Davis, and if anybody has met him, you'll know he is a force to be reckoned with. He is a George Washington impersonator, very good. He is George Washington. And he has tirelessly worked for the past 2 years to fundraising, and he's a good force for Morrisville. He doesn't live here, but he has really ingrained himself in our town. Let's see. Colvin's Ferry, I think it's a great name.
Oh, thank you.
You know, just one. If somebody else has it, it's historically you're correct. It's right on there. We are registered as a national historic. We are in the National Historic Registry. We're open the first Saturday every month. I know we advertise for 2 Saturdays, first and the third, but we don't have the volunteers. We don't have the manpower. So if anybody's interested in volunteering for something like that, we'll take your name. Let's see. And on a side note, next Friday on the 27th in 1824, General Lafayette came and visited Somerset, had breakfast there, which is an interesting fact. They're doing a farewell tour. I didn't know about this until late, or we would have maybe jumped on board with that. And people are coming from all over the world. Over the years, people have come. They signed the guest book. Very impressed. It's a beautiful old mansion on Legion Avenue, which is right off of Hillcrest. It's kind of at the corner. You can see it right beside Patriots Park. We have schools coming. Holy Trinity 7th graders came this year, and Grandview, and we're looking to get outreach to more of the schools to make history fun and see how it partners with modern day history. Let's see. You can tell I'm nervous, sorry.
Oh, don't be nervous. Relax.
Relax. Deep breath. Okay. But anyways, come to our place where literally George Washington walked the halls. From December the 7th to the 14th, he came and visited, and most of you probably know that history. But our owners are very impressive. Thomas Barkley, George Clymer, Robert Morris, and many more. We were a summer home. Most of them lived in Philadelphia and came up here for the summer. So I'm sure they had 2 homes. Let's see. And
Was it 2 or 3 signers of the Declaration of Independence?
2 signers.
So 2 signers of the Declaration of Independence lived in the summer seat.
Yes, George Clymer and Robert Morris.
Thank you.
That's the only house in the country that has that claim to fame. So that's really a cool thing. We have so much fantastic history in this town. And we have gravestones, summer seats, Williamson Park, and the library. Oh my God, the library is so old and cool. And yes.
Karen, what are the hours again that summer seat is open?
10 to 1 every first Saturday. But my name's on their Facebook. Call me if anybody up there wants a tour. Come. I'm right down the street. Did I give my address? No. Carrying 42 Union. I'm right across the street. I could walk up there.
Okay.
So anybody's interested in coming, I'll gladly meet you up there and come see our fabulous place. And in talking with our new police chief, he came from a town who is affiliated with where George Washington stayed before he came over to Morrisville. What a small world. One small town. Was it called Colvins? Friedelberg.
We actually formed a general who stayed in the Copenhagen house, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, that is so cool. Well, our new mantra is we are not surviving, but we are thriving. And I hope to see people there. We are having 2 Advanced Ghost Tour, October 26th, which we have every room manned with somebody who will give you their vision of what has happened to them personally or in our house. We have phenomena. They're very Casper-like, though, very friendly. And and also, November the 10th, we have a author, David Pierce, The 10 Crucial Days of George Washington. The event is free. What he's doing is promoting his book. And we have a lot of them. That's the only one we have lined up. And December the 7th, we have Summer Seat Remembers. And this is when George Washington actually came to our house. Like I said, we have our own George Washington. He makes a very, very impressive speech to his troops because they were very dejected and defeated at that time. I think they were conscripted, is the word, and they were ready to leave. You know, they were rags to riches, ragtag and worn. But we think that we were the house of decision because Washington came to the house forlorn. And when he left, he was upbeat. There was a plan. Now, we think he looked out one of our windows upstairs and those Hessians and said, I'm going to get him.
Right?
Right? And then he went to Washington's Crossing, of course.
I've been there many times, so everyone should go and see it at least once.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're always
I second that.
volunteers.
Yeah.
Second that?
Yep.
Okay.
Everyone needs to go take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. That's all. I'll maybe speak other times where I give a little more interesting facts in that, but
You're welcome every week, every month.
every month.
Every month.
Okay, I'll get less nervous. Good.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
Okay.
Holly Harmon? Okay. All right. That's enough for public comment. Anybody else have anything? No? Everybody's good? Mayor's comments.
Good evening, everyone. This past month has been incredibly positive one. And I'd like to take a moment to highlight a few important developments. First, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to PennDOT, Senator Santisiero, or Senator S., Jim Propropiak, our residents, and all borough officials for their continued dedication. Last month, we made a significant announcement. After a long battle, the truck traffic on South Pennsylvania Avenue will come to an end very soon, once all the signage is installed. We're hopeful that this will be completed by Halloween, but certainly by Thanksgiving. I want to share a personal story with you all.
Don't do that.
I told you I was doing it. The day before our big announcement, many of us gathered right here in this room around this table. Myself, Council President Helen, Jim Dillon, Chief, Senator S., and his staff, PennDOT, Jim Propropiak, Gilmore and Associates. We thought we were going to discuss other options. Little did we know, Fran from PennDOT had a surprise for us. Fran shared the news that Morrisville residents had been waiting for so long. Trucks over 10 tons will be banned on South Pennsylvania Avenue. We were all taken back with joy, of course, but when I looked to my left, I saw something even more touching. Tears of joy were rolling down Council President Helen's face. And they did not stop.
You know, I'm taking away the mayor's comments.
So I said, oh, the Ice Queen cries. But this moment demonstrated the true passion and dedication that she and all of our elected officials have for ensuring the safety and well-being of our beautiful borough. I wish you all could have been there to witness it. This was a huge victory for Morrisville and especially for the residents of our first ward. And the good news didn't stop there. Right after that meeting, our borough manager, Jim, invited Gilmore Associates, PennDOT, and our Public Works team to walk down to the bridge at Pennsylvania and Union to discuss that project. On that day, we were able to show them the hazardous conditions of the walkways. Within a few short weeks, a temporary boardwalk was installed. Not sure if you all saw it. It looks great. Allowing our residents to safely use the sidewalks. Although the full project won't start until late next year, it's a relief to have a temporary solution in place. Thank you to all who were involved. In other news, our students started their first day of school September 3rd, and what an exciting day that was. I also want to give a special thank you to Governor Shapiro for visiting the Morrisville School District to sign the 24 and 25 education budget. It was such an honor to have him here. Great guy, awesome, and it's exciting for our school district and borough. Thank you again, Governor Shapiro. Lastly, I'd like to announce a community initiative in partnership with Bella Sisley. We're hosting a Halloween costume drive. We are collecting new and gently used costumes for families in need, so every child can enjoy Halloween. The drive runs until October 18th. Drop boxes are located here at Borough Hall and down the street at Bella Sisley. And on October 19th, we will have the costumes available for pickup at Borough Hall. We appreciate any and all donations for this wonderful cause. As Chief also mentioned, we are going to be doing a trunk or treat, the police sponsored, right here at Borough Hall in this front parking lot on October 29th from 5 to 8. Keep a lookout for that flyer to come out soon. Again, thank you all for everything and have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. Council member comments?
Madam President, I didn't get a chance. I don't think you heard me because I didn't have my mic on, but I did have a comment. Not on what the mayor just said, but I just wanted to point out to the public in case there's confusion, because I know there's a lot of things get turned around really quickly, it seems, and some terms are used and maybe folks aren't really familiar with them, but grants are free. They do not cost the borough any money. And while there's been a lot going on and Mr. Dillon's working hard, we as a council are working hard. So far, we haven't spent any EIT money. I just wanted to make sure folks were aware of that. We haven't been, the things that have come up in these meetings have been stated specifically, this has not cost the borough any money. So I just wanted to make sure there was no confusion there.
Thank you, Melissa. Any other council members? Okay, any committee reports?
Yes, I'd like to report on the Irish Fest. It was a beautiful day, which usually we're jinxed with really bad weather. We had more vendors and different food trucks than we had before. The music was great. Attendance was not what it would web and flow throughout the day, but a lot of people left around 4:35 because Falls was having one of their annual concerts and they served beer. So a lot of people left. It was kind of disappointing, but some of the vendors stayed till 8 o'clock because they enjoyed the music and Bodocks so well. So that was kind of disappointing that we didn't have as big attendance as we would have liked. We had a lot of families that were enjoying the kites and the kids out there playing and stuff and people enjoying the music. So that was great. So I want to thank all the people that helped with that, John and your crew for making the park look so beautiful that day. Thank you. Appreciate the borough staff who helped get the forms and take in the vendor fees and stuff like that. So I appreciate their hard work too. And the many, many volunteers that come out and help this event happen. Our next event we've rescheduled for the Jazz Festival, and all the bands and everything have been arranged. This is co-sponsored. The borough does not pay for the bands. That money's been sponsored and raised at other events to cover all those costs. So, and there are donations that are made directly to the Cancer Foundation, but the vendor fees, the food truck fees that they pay, all go to the to borough and to our budget. So thank you, and thank you for all the people that come out and support these events. The vendors keep saying, keep going, don't give up. We're going to be here for you, even though there was kind of a slow day. So I appreciate that. And the kind comments in Facebook, really appreciated it. So thank you, and thank you to the borough staff who helped support these, and to all the volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, so sorry. But the Jazz Fest, it's actually Sunday. I want to get that date out to everyone. Sunday, October 6th from 1 to 8 down at Williamson Park. So that's the rescheduled date. Hope you all can join.
I just want to reiterate a couple dates. The chief is going to be down at the senior center at September 27th. The chief is also going to be doing coffee with a cop on October 2nd. The Jazz Fest again is what date?
October 6th.
October 6th. And I know this is not Morrisville, but the Veterans Administration, they're having an event. It's a Yardley Fest. It's a Yardley Fest for vets. It's a fundraiser for the vets, and we always support our vets. That's going to be October 5th from 11 to 4, and it's going to be at the American Legion in Yardley. I know that's not Morrisville, but I still support all our veterans. So I think that's it. Anything else from the public? Nothing? Okay, nothing from council. So meeting is adjourned.